It's not supposed to do that. It'll damage the pump. Because they said plumbers don't have any strength to roll it back in, like crank.
Bend your knees, buddy.
It takes 3 to 5 minutes to ruin a pump, guys. All right, guys. I'm not going to try and teach you guys how to jet. I'm just going to teach you how to run this thing. You guys know how to do that stuff. So we'll give you a quick overview on the unit. Basically, you've got a 12 gallon a minute pump on here with a 1/2 inch hose. 12 gallons a minute will not go through the 3/8 or the 1/4 inch. So when you get to the 3/8, you're about 10 gallons. When you get to the 1/4 inch, you're about 8 gallons. All right. Max pressure on this unit is 3,000 PSI. If you're trying to push it for more, it's not supposed to do that. It'll damage the pump. That pump is about, I want to say $1,800 to replace if you guys decide to play around and mess it up. It's not cheap. The engine is a Vanguard 35 horse. Prior to operation, you need to make sure you check the oil on both the engine and the pump. Are you guys familiar with pump level indicator? Come on around over this way real quick and look. On the pump, there's a sight glass on the side here. On this sight glass, the oil is halfway. That's the proper level. If that oil is up here at the top and it's got a little bubble in there, you're gonna mess it up. It's gonna blow seals, okay? It's plain and simple. Engine oil, got the dipstick. It's got the standard little marks on the dipstick, just like any other car. You got the hash marks. The top line is full, the bottom line is fill. All right. Water filters are here. These are very important. You have to spin this little cap off and pull this thing out. And you want to make sure that this screen is not clogged. If you leave this trailer parked in the sun, the white tank will let the UV light get in and create algae. Algae is the worst enemy of these filters. It'll clog them up. Clog these up, cavitate the pump, just ruin the pump. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to ruin a pump, guys. This O-ring in here, when you guys check it, it's very important. It's real easy. When you do this number, it's gone. So, a little dramatic effect, right?
Yeah, I like it.
So, so you got to make sure that you keep that, all right? The screen just fits back up inside, and then you put the cap back on, and hand tight. Don't put any channel locks on here. You guys carry those things around in your back pocket. Just hand tight. This green thing is your pressure regulator. Word of advice, don't fuck with it. There's no reason for you guys to touch it. So this is just, it's set at 3,000 PSI. If it's not giving you 3,000 PSI on the gauge, your gauge is bad, your nozzles are bad, or the pump is starting to go bad. So realistically, adjusting this is not gonna help anything but make the problem worse. You have a battery. If the battery's bad, we can take a look at the battery, or we'll have to check the charging system on the engine, because the engine is what charges the battery. Just like your car's alternator, this one has a charging system on the flywheel that charges the battery. I recommend this much water, as much as you possibly can in the tank when you're driving it. It's not going to hurt anything. It actually travels better, I think, with this kind of water. If you decide you want to drain the tank, there is a drain back here. But know that when you drain the tank, water is being pulled uphill. So when you drain the tank, the water that is sitting here in the pump is going to drain into the tank. And then when you start it up, once that water drains into the tank, it's going to capture a little bubble of air, and it's going to try and pull it up in here. When you get that air bubble, you have to prime the pump again. Kind of like a diesel pump on a diesel engine. So a lot of times you can crack this and let the air purge out, but it doesn't always work. And you end up having to pull caps off to try to get the water back in there. It's a pain in the butt. So the realistic side is try to keep as much water in this as you can. If you get the water down low, there's a low water cutoff. It will kill the engine, and it will not start until you put water in it. As you walk around, you've got your water fill. So whenever you're at a location, you just pull this hose out, connect to a hose bib, and fill the tank while you're out there doing the job. Hook that up. It's a float valve in here that will shut off the water when it's full. When you run it again, when the water goes down, the float valve will open up and let the water fill again. so you can have a little closer to continuous operation. You got your 300 foot of Piranha hose on an electric reel because they said plumbers don't have any strength to roll it back in by crank. These are just little storage knobs or fittings, basically a JIC fitting, so you can keep the end of the hose under control a little bit. You have a friction lock here, so when it's all the way tight, it locks the reel. You open it up a little bit and it releases the reel, and you get to pull it out. On the back side here, you've got a ball valve to control your 1/2 inch hose as it rolls away. So when you start this thing, if it's in the closed position, as you can see, I started it earlier, it's still holding pressure about 2,000 PSI. All right, when you open it up, it releases that. I will put a nozzle on this thing, and I will put it in the pipe that I'm going to be working on before I start it, so I don't have to worry about getting wet or trying to mess with that ball valve. If you have anything more than 1,000 PSI on that ball valve and you're opening and closing it, it tends to wear out the little plastic seal on the ball valve, and then you'll have to replace it. They're only about 80 bucks to replace, so it's not a big deal, right? So ball valve controls the flow on the hose. This is your 1/2 inch hose, and you have the same thing on the 3/8, which we'll look at here in a minute. Back here is an emergency shutoff switch. Unless it is an actual emergency, don't touch that, because you've got, what, 5, 6 guys, 7 guys here. You might use it one day and use that emergency shutoff to turn it off, and then you come pick it up and use it the next day and it won't start. So you're sitting there cranking it. Well, that deactivates the ignition, so the engine won't start because that's shut off. And if you keep on cranking it, it's shooting fuel in there and it's going to flood it. We had one happen just the other day. Guy cranked it for probably half an hour, filled it up with fuel. First one ever, hopefully the last one. So if it's not starting, figure out why. You either have low oil, you have low water, or you have that turned off. So and it's not hard to just bump it and turn it off. As you can see, it's pretty simple, very easy. So when you turn it off, so kind of make a habit when you do your walk around, check filters and your oil, just walk over here and twist that and make sure it's up. If you make that part of your checklist when you start it up, you won't ever have that problem. Does that make sense? This is your throttle. It's got a little lock lever there, and then I always rotate this when I want to idle it up. You can push the button and pull and push, all right? I recommend the spinning option because some of you guys get a little bit strong in the mornings. Pull it out pretty hard because you want to idle that thing up real fast. And for all intensive purposes, that's not the greatest throttle mechanism we've got in the world. This is your reel control. When you push it, it rolls it up. You have a speed control on there for faster, slower. I tend to go about middle ways so that you can control where you're putting the hose easier. If you get in a hurry and you're winding it up, as you can see, this hose reel is pretty close to full. If you wind it up and it's kind of all over the place, it's gonna be like standing up here, it's gonna get bound up. So try not to go crazy with it. You've got your work light, safety lights, switches are here. On this side here, you have your 3/8 hose with its own ball valve on this side here to open and close. The throttle control is only in the back, so it's only controlled back there. So again, you put your hose in, you open up your valve, start it up so the water's going, and then you throttle it up. So basically, whichever hose you're using, open the one you're using. The other one should be closed. Otherwise, you're not going to get any pressure. 1/4 inch, we supply this with the trailer. So basically, you're going to take this 3/8 hose and just connect it to that JIC, and you can run. If you need to have a different way of controlling it, what I see a lot of times is you either get a foot pedal or you get a trigger. If you put the trigger with a JIC like that, so you connect this to the trigger, And you get a little jumper hose that goes to that, so that way you can start this up, you can carry that in while it's running. You set it next to your sink or whatever, wherever your P-trap or your clean out is, and you run that in there, squeeze trigger, and you're jetting right there. So this is a hand crank in case you guys run the battery down and that electric hose reel is not working. So you come back here, insert this into the slot, and there's a handle in the box that goes on this, and you just crank away. So you're not stuck out there with a hose laying out there and can't figure out how to roll it up, and you're sitting there trying to roll it up with this. Kind of sucks. You got a fuel tank here. Obviously, you got to have gas in it to run it. Servicing. We do the servicing for you guys if you want, or if you really want to, if you got somebody mechanically inclined. This is your oil drain tube for the engine. So you drain the oil like that, and you fill it back up once you're done, and there's the same drain tube over here for the pump. As far as service goes, it's got oil changes, oil filter, fuel filter, air filter. Pretty much it for service.
And you said it's every 100 hours?
About every 100 hours you'll be doing one or the other, because the pump is 100 hours and the engine is 200 hours. The hour meter right here. And then you have your clean out gun. I don't know why we always seem to set it up, but it's set up with a 1/2 inch GIC, so it hooks to the 1/2 inch hose. So word of warning, and we'll hook this up so you guys can kind of see this. At 3,000 PSI, 12 gallons a minute, if you're not careful with that, you're gonna hurt somebody.
Bend your knees, buddy. Get down. America.
So recommendation is to use that at about 2,000 PSI. So don't crank it all the way up to 3 and think it's gonna be easier. Just use it about 2,000, 1,500. More than enough cleaning power if you're cleaning mud off the sidewalk or whatever you're doing afterwards. So, no, I'm kidding. It's the pulsation valve.
So it does have like a jump jet.
It's the jump jet pulsation valve. So realistically, when you operate this, one of the things I caution you guys about is if you're jetting and you need to go around a 90, don't use this to get around the 90. Because if you use this to get around the 90, it ain't coming back out. You just lost a nozzle. And these nozzles that I have over there on the top of the tank run between 300 and 500. So they're not cheap. So the one that I put on the hose right now is the 1/2 inch flusher. That means that it's only got rear facing nozzles. This one is the penetrator. It's got one forward and the rest are backwards. Then you have the same thing in the 3/8. You got the flusher, which is this one, and the penetrator, which is this one. Penetrator has a hole in the front, and then the other holes in the back. And then the 1/4 inch, you have just the penetrator. So typically that's what you're gonna use on that. Let's get the key and we'll start this thing up and see what it does, right? We'll go ahead and crank it up. On starting, pull your throttle, or your throttle, I'm sorry, the choke. Turn it over. If it doesn't start, turn it back in. So that's at 3,000 PSI already. So go ahead and pull on that hose, see what kind of. I like to turn the knob like that because you have a little more control over where you go, where you stop, you know. So then now that you're about 1,000 PSI, and then we can pull that out and change it. If it starts to do that, idle it up a little bit. Penetrator. All right, so there you go. Open it. And then turn it to the, there you go. Is that 3,000? Well,